Regular board meeting will be recorded and uploaded to our district website. The definitive documentation and decisions of the board are documented in the meeting minutes rather than the recording. Any use of an electronic device, such as a computer or a cell phone during the meeting, is related to the business of the meeting. The core values that guide the work of our school district are respect, compassion, honesty, responsibility, and relationships. So we're calling the meeting to order at 5:36. And acknowledging that today's board meeting is being held within the traditional territory of the Denizah and Treaty 8. And these have a mover and a seconder for the agenda, moved by Thomas, seconded by Bill. Are there any additions to the agenda? Calling question then, all in favor? Item number 3, at our last meeting, we declared conflict and elected a BCPC rep. Thomas's situation has changed since that meeting, so I'm going to let Thomas indicate where his conflict is at.
So my conflict arises from my mom. So she works for Northern Health. Originally, when she took the role, she was under the understanding that she was not able to work in Emerge. So she wasn't able to be part of the union at that point. Since then, that's changed. She's working the occasional 1 or 2 shifts a month in Emerge. So she has to be part of the union. And there lies my conflict of interest.
So where we are in the position right now, Thomas was elected as their alternate for BCPC rep. Angela took everybody's conflict and has presented it to BCPC. And there are 4 of us, because we're in that yellow zone, or orange zone on the conflict of interest. There's Thomas, myself, David, and Nicole, that all BCPC would allow to stand as alternate. So we're in a position where we need to re-elect our BCPC rep. David has sent his regrets tonight as he's not feeling well. Nicole's in Mexico and she sends her regrets, but just a tiny pom-pom. What's your difference? So we will be looking to call a special board meeting, possibly by Zoom, to do a single nomination for an election of the BCPC rep. It can't wait till next time, because should that alternate BCPC rep want to attend AGM, that AGM for BCPC is taking place January 30th, 31st, and an election at our regular board meeting in January would not give that individual time to organize to be there, depending on what they choose. So probably in that first week in January, we'll look at calling a special board meeting on that. We don't have any presentations or delegations tonight.
Just to come back to that.
Yeah.
So obviously those 4 were okayed.
Yeah.
Not in any hierarchy, but just across. Okay.
Yeah, just based on their conflict, they were, I spoke with Chris Beneteau and he said, because it says would be considered by BCP. So I went through the cases and he said, word to word.
All right.
He works for BCPC, Chris Beneteau. So he's there to advise, free of charge. I'm sure we pay somehow, but that's okay.
All right, moving on to item number 5 on our agenda, trustee engagement and celebration. Trustee Campbell, area 4.
I've been to my PAC meetings. I went to the district Christmas dance, dinner and dance. I went to VPAC and SUPAC. I went to the Indigenous Education Committee meeting. I went to the Trustee Academy in Vancouver. I've been to 2 or 3 Christmas crafts that were at different schools. I've been to a couple Mingle and Jingles already. And I'm planning on going to the concert in Taylor this week. And Bell Donald is doing luncheon the last day. And they've invited me to that.
Who is it? Pancake breakfast.
It's both, they're doing pancake breakfast, they're doing a turkey dinner, lunch,
Yeah.
and then they're doing skating and hot chocolate in the afternoon.
Well, I need to go back and read my invitation more closely.
Yeah, we're invited to the whole day. So
Okay, I missed that. Okay. And Trustee Gillis, I don't know what she sends, not regrets. Trustee Lehman,
The SB Academy, NPA dinner, Christmas dance at dinner, lots of dinners this month. Attended Clary Park and a Christmas concert. It's very nice in that big gym. You missed that. And we kicked off bargaining this morning.
the trustee Scott Moncrief sends his regrets. Vice Chair Snow.
Down to Vancouver with Advance. Went to the MPAA dinner. The district Christmas party. I've been to all my schools, probably at least twice each last month. Once at the high school, I was had to fill in for an activity for the vice principal in their business class. I went to it last year for that Shark Tank thing and observed last year while one of the vice principals was sick. So I was told I was taking part instead of observing. So it was quite interesting. I've just been keeping busy, a couple mingle jingles, and a couple more things this week. Getting more and more.
Trustee Witten.
Was at a Christmas concert at Ann Roberts Young, which was absolutely beautiful. It was really great to see the kids out there in all creative ways that they were able to make it unique to them. Unfortunately, I missed, but I want to highlight that it was the 80th birthday of Central School on the same day as the Christmas concert, and it looked like there was a great turnout there. They had a nice little grouping of activities. Went to the BC STA Academy with all you fine folks.
Don't forget, Central has an invite out to breakfast at 7:30 tomorrow morning.
I'm cooking lunch.
Okay. Well, I'm hoping to get to some Christmas events this week. I have, because of my dad, not been at anything, and I need some full. So my report, I attended the BCSTA Academy and I found most sessions had a takeaway for me, and I look forward to doing some of the follow-up on that people suggested. I did send you a report about, I think I did, about my Zoom meeting with the new Minister of Education and Childcare, Lisa Bear. She has an energy and a sincerity that was very good. She's already had her staff follow up regarding the January NAB date for MLA forum. We just don't have the agenda set, but there certainly was a keenness to be part of things. I attended the DPAC meeting, which was followed by the SUPAC meeting. The focus in the SUPAC meeting was feeding futures, and Stephen has provided us with some principles for feeding futures in an email that he sent out. Thank you very much for this, Stephen. I attended the labor management meeting on your behalf, the district Christmas dinner and dance. And then I just sat down at my parents' dining room table. Everybody was asleep, put my feet up with a cup of tea, and my phone rang, and I went, oh, that's a number I don't know. And really energetic voice. It was Bonwin Ma, the new Minister of Infrastructure, who was just phoning to introduce herself. She probably talked to me for a minimum of 15 minutes on the phone. she explained a little bit about her ministry, but told me that bulk of our work would still be done through the Ministry of Education and Child Care. She asked about our infrastructure needs, and I had to confess that with the rebuild at 101, the gym, some of the things that we're more fortunate. But then I put my rural and remote hat on and said, please take a look at the Capital Working Group report and recognize that there are some unique challenges for rural and remote districts. She then talked to me about the new Ministry of State for Local Government and Rural Communities. And then also reference to parliamentary secretary, that would be pertinent to rural, and spent a bunch of time explaining the difference between a minister of state, a minister, and a of secretary. And she ended the call telling me she had called her on her personal cell phone, keep the number and call her anytime. So it was just a right out of the blue, kind of surprising. Yeah. So I do have her phone number.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, no,
That was Bowen Mom?
yeah, Owen Mom.
Yeah, you right.
So I have a new friend. Yeah, no. But it was one of those times that I went, holy crow. So yeah, she was certainly approachable. Yeah. About the school and government process. Pardon? All right, moving on to item number 6, which is pages 6 to 15 in your agenda package. It's the minutes of the regular board meeting on November the 18th. It seems like a long time ago.
Well, do you have your report there for me?
Pardon?
The report.
Yeah, you can have it.
Is that me?
Yeah, that's the SPP. I think you did have.
Do you have an answer?
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for checking.
Thank you. Have a mover and a seconder for those minutes. Moved by Madeline, seconded by Ida. Any errors or omissions in those minutes? Any? Question that, all in favor? Business arising, Angela has a school protection branch clarification for it related to insurance, run.
Yeah, so I believe the question was regarding parents driving their students.
Yeah.
So, when a parent drives their students, there's no additional coverage required. They would just drive them into any, they need to seek their insurer if they are going to, and let them know exactly what they're going to be doing. But that direction doesn't come from us. It's something that you do when you need insurance. So parents are set to.
But if they go through the volunteer driver abstract process and are designated as a volunteer driver.
They need to communicate that with their insurer. And I don't So if they're, like, they would take care of those, if there's additions or anything, that comes out of that, but again, it's just around clear communication. It means that.
And we will communicate that to our school leaders. So that it's included in their information when they set up their year for trips.
So moving on then, there was no other business arising that I saw. Does anybody else need to? Moving on to agenda item number 7 then, approval of the excerpts of the regular board meeting of October the 21st, which is page 16 in your package. Please get a mover and a seconder. Moved by Madeline, seconded by Thomas. Any errors or omissions? Sorry if I rushed you. All in the question and all in favor? Great. Announcements and reminders. Just a reminder that you also have received an invitation to Jordan Key's soiree tomorrow. Stephen forwarded it. You just needed to RSVP if you were going to attend. And then on January the 8th, Northern Lights College is going to be going over their new strategic plan. And I will be out of town, so I'm hoping somebody will represent us at that Northern Lights College meeting.
And just that February 13th, 14th, like the dinner on the 13th, and then the full day on the 14th is the board advance.
Okay, we missed that on.
No, I missed that. And it's not a public meeting, but we would just be good for trustees just to remind, make a note of that. It's planned for sort of a 5 to 7 on February 13th. And then essentially kind of 9 to 4, 9 to 3 on the Friday, the 14th of February.
It's in your calendar.
Yeah, it's in there too, just, yeah.
Something else to throw out, Bob Zimmer has an open house Friday, December 20th as well.
Sorry?
Bob Zimmer has an open house on the 20th as well. Go to that.
Sorry, I don't know if this is the spot, but we had some discussion because the full meeting was on the 13th, and it was here that we would move back to our original time, and I don't think we just
Doesn't change the committee meeting, we changed the DLPM.
we changed the deal.
The DLTM is we moved to the Tuesday morning, nothing's affected.
Oh, very good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That was probably thoroughly confusing for me. We'll start and move on then to item number 9 on your agenda, senior staff reports, and we'll start with the superintendent's report.
Thanks, Helen. Going through the report number 1, the HR activity report. Then under operations, you have for your information an attachment on the survey of security issues from September to December as requested, as well as a debrief of the evacuation practice from Taylor. And then I will go through my online report under the heading of student learning as per the board strategic plan and intellectual development. There's some examples here from early learning, because normally when we talk about assessment and reporting, we sometimes tend to forget about the early learning program. So Tracy provided us with some initiatives that are going on around the district, including how they're sharing information and communicating with the parents. So it just gives you an opportunity to kind of check what is it, the language, the pictures that they're sending out, and that's helpful. Also, just an FYI for trustees and the public, we're promoting this information on numeracy to be sent out through school newsletters. And so Charmaine Chrétien is providing this information, and it gives you a sort of advanced look at what that information could be as it comes out in the newsletters. Under human and social development, as always, we were all a bit disappointed to miss the Christmas band concert. I know many of you look forward to that every year, so we are gonna. It's always November is crazy month in the school rhythm, and so we'll try and figure that out for next year as well. But congratulations to the bands and for a great evening. Also, congratulating some of our students, and thanks to Carla Lowther for organizing the Legion poster contest. And so that's an initiative she's taken on for years. And so several of our students, including for the first time, some submissions en français. And so they're getting actually recognized as we speak, 6 o'clock, 6:30 over at the Legion right now. Under career skills development information provided from Mr. Campbell, and actually I went to visit this class as well, and so they were making bracelets using several tools here at the Duncan Crown, as well as our own. In fact, they had a group going on there too. This is provided for free by facilitators who come, tradespeople, and work with the kids for the day. Recognizing our industry partners, so $20,000, this is not small change, and so they continue to donate for our safety equipment, and makes a big difference to our careers programs and the students that participate in. So some stuff you can read there. Under our people development, as always, there are several, and my apologies for the screen here. I don't know what's going on, but I can only see half of it. But anyway, okay. Some child center related play skills, as well as children and trauma, which already happened, but our staff have opportunities for a number of ongoing professional development workshops. For Truth and Reconciliation, we had heard back from a team of our Indigenous Ed department who went to the annual national gathering for Indigenous education, and they were quite excited about it. This just gives trustee and the public a sense of the purpose and the type of programming that happens there, and kind of renews their interest and commitment to our programming here. Finally, under Take 3, I suppose if there's food involved, I'm usually there, and there's a free pizza lunch at Burn Ambrose. The entire school provided enough pizzas for the entire school, the fire department did. And that's for they won the competition of the most participation in assessing their home fire safety plan. And so congratulations to Burn Ambrose School. A tradition both at RO and Alvin Holland is that the staff secretly deck the halls and decorate their schools in the evening. The kids come the next day, and it's a festival type atmosphere in the schools. So it's really neat to see that. Kids do it. And finally, the cultural fair, I wasn't able to make it over there, but they have 100 ELL students from 30 different countries, and they had a fantastic cultural fair. I'm not sure if trustees were there too. That was fantastic. You actually see a picture of here of Barat. He's our ELL district teacher, so he was there as well. That is my online report. And then, Helen, I would ask for items 2, 3, 4, and 5 to be broken out. And number 2 is equity scan. I want to thank Director of Instruction Carlene being here as well, just in terms of any questions around process. And number 3, district field trips. Number 4, community coaches. And number 5, a postal responsibility. And that is my report.
Thank you. Can I please get a motion? Mover and seconder for Stephen's report, moved by Bill, second by Thomas. We'll go through each area of Stephen's report. We'll start with the human resources summary report for teachers. And I was just wondering how many, if you had any idea, how many of the recent ACO grads have jobs already?
3 are available to us. So I just happen to
3
know
of
that
them.
information. I beat you to it, Trustee Snow. Of the group, there's the least amount of grads that are available to us, but we'll take it, and they will be absorbed very quickly, either through TUC work or contracts here in Dividend.
Available. They've already been,
Pardon me?
they were already hired by someone else, I mean, or?
No, the others either were going to different areas already, but they weren't available to us as a district, yeah.
I meant to, while we had Wade ask what kind of uptake they had
Right,
going on for April this year. So
Yeah.
I let him escape before I asked
that's
him.
okay.
All right, security issues in schools. That report was attached. Any questions related to that? So I do, just because part of the reason for taking a look at this grew out of understanding whether the OPS site was having any impact on our schools. The OPS site has been closed down where it was over by Central because the building was undergoing renovation. The tractor trailer that was blocking the view of the site from Central School was moved. And the meeting, there was supposed to be a meeting in November. That's been delayed, and just before this meeting, I got an email to say that the next meeting will be January 28th for the Good Neighbors Group. And that the actual site, even what they had renoed and were looking at, is closing on December the 13th. For construction to continue, and the reopen date is yet to be determined. So when you look at this stuff, we don't have that site operating during the time of this report.
I have to say, reading over it, I enjoy seeing these kind of things, and just kind of seeing where everything's at, regardless of whether the OPS site is active or not. And I think that when and if that site is fully operational, it's good for us to have some context into the history and, you know, is there a major swing or does it maintain
We've got some
pretty
baseline
similar?
data.
Exactly. Yes. So I appreciate them putting all this together.
Yeah, thank you.
Debrief for practice evacuation in Taylor.
Well, I'm proud to say congratulations seems to have been a good. Now, having said that,
Yes.
how do you keep it that way? Like I always feel, it's such a tricky thing because it seems like sometimes these emergencies kind of snowball and then there's a break where. And then it easily falls to the wayside.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans of?
Absolutely. Well, the good news is, for example, this is the first time we've not kind of waited for an emergency. So this is the actual connection with our local fire department and our stakeholders to actually run a practice. So it hasn't been done in years that we're aware of. So, and so it absolutely is continued. We've committed to doing at least one practice a year. And Sabrina sits on the provincial committee for emergency preparedness that meets monthly. So in terms of staying connected to what the latest information is and any of those kinds of requirements, we're definitely plugged in. And and this was something they all appreciated. And we continue, of course, to plan and have the annual stakeholder group that I started last year meeting here with the district around specifically their relationship to school facilities and events.
So, go ahead, Ida.
So just in that evacuation, it was done in the whole town. It wasn't just the school that did it.
Yeah, that's.
And it was interesting because certain people in the community knew it was going on and certain people didn't. So when they were going door to door, it was like a really activity and it went over really well.
Oh, good.
Thomas?
So I think this is fantastic. Did we keep an eye on what expenses were like for an evacuation of this scope? Like just figure out kind of what that cost was to get the buses down there, the gas, the time and effort that it took for the staff and all that kind of stuff?
Great question. I think we didn't necessarily monitor that. It wouldn't be too hard to figure out in terms of the fuel, perhaps, because that was a certain trajectory, and it was all on staff time. And so we would consider this to be actually an ongoing part of our responsibility and job. But the additional cost would be the fuel, for example. We can certainly look into that. Yes.
So the one thing But I wondered, I think you told us in a sequence of events that something was going on, Stephen,
Yeah.
but there's board notification is not listed in what happened that day. And so if it becomes a checklist document, you might want to go back and put that in. I mean, we're not gonna be your first call.
No.
But as things are going on, you're going to want to reach out to us.
And I believe I did.
I believe you did too. I
Yeah.
just didn't go back and confirm it.
Yeah.
But it's not in the sequence of events.
Yeah.
And my thought was if that becomes a checklisty kind of thing.
Oh, and it is actually already, and so it is part of the checklist on the communication flow chart.
Okay,
And what I'll do is, if you don't already have that, I'll make sure I provide it to you. And it specifically says the superintendent shares with the board an update.
and I'm pleased to see that we're going to take a look at the pickup process at Ambrose. That wasn't part of what they did this time, but that's another piece that
Yep.
we need to. And so somewhere in here, it says that that was one of the things we still need to look at a little bit more closer.
Absolutely. You learn as much as you do something well in these things, to be honest.
Does the flow chart include a regular update to the board during events?
Yeah, and actually now that I'm trying to think of that, it's the district emergency plan, which I believe might even be accessible on the website here. But what I'll do is so you're not having to hunt for it, I'll send you the link and it'll have all that information on there.
I intended to check. and I didn't.
No worries. Yeah.
Right, let's go through the electronic report.
Student learning.
That was nice too, because I feel the learning and all, I appreciated at the academy. I
Yeah.
felt that Saturday morning was very valuable and
Yeah, it was really nice to see, like, in the latter part of it, to hear what Rocky Mountain was doing because it covered the whole depth. So that was quite nice.
Some newsletter information for parents. The band concert.
Under your skills and development,
Yeah.
I should have said this in my report, but at the Bell Bottom PAC, the PAC is donating over $3,000 into robotics for that school. So that was, this triggered it when I
Yeah.
saw this, but.
But they
that's what
will
they're
be
doing.
getting support
Yeah.
in connection with the careers department
Yeah.
too, so that's terrific.
Yeah.
Terrific.
So Angela, Michelle Canada, now this one is quite targeted to safety equipment. But some of the other donations that come in that are more, say, for food or more general, when you do your budget report, does that go into revenue?
It goes into, so when we get donations, they're generally pretty targeted. So we know, like, we don't usually get anything that's just general to school operations. So they would be for example, the firemen donated and it was for school supplies, things that the schools needed. So that goes into Fund 60 so that we don't get it mixed. Because if it goes
just
into
wasn't sure.
operating, it would be. Yeah, that's a good question.
It's on the screen proper now, Stephen.
Oh, good. Yeah, I went and minimized it's working now.
All right.
Yeah.
Moving on to item number 2 in Stephen's report, the equity scan document, and I'll let Arlene answer questions.
Yeah, I'm here to ask if you've read through it, do you have anything that you need clarification on?
You at the meeting if you want to clarify.
Yeah, I did go to the meeting and
Yeah, went along well.
Carleen, Stephen and I were there.
So the one thing I wondered is page 24 is blank, and there was a lot of information that got sent in. There was 5 trustee reports, so there's no trustee information, but there was some.
No, that, was it 24 you're looking at?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was, just put, we want to put a link for your data,
Okay.
only because your data is more qualitative.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make sure that link is there.
Okay.
I tried to fit it in, but,
Pull it up electronically, you can access all of that.
well, yeah,
Okay, thank you very much for this one. Okay.
At the meeting, we did talk, I did say that if anyone had any questions, why there's 7 trustees, but only 5 in here, it's because the board turnover at the time, so.
Yeah.
I did explain that.
But the 5 who did respond had a lot of, robust answers, so important. that we
Thank you,
can-
because I went, no, we weren't right.
So, other thoughts on the budget? Not sure. What, this report, what's the time span that it covers? Like, how long from?
We talked about that, hey, and we were looking at maybe a 5-year.
It took 3 years to get it done.
Right.
So it's definitely more than a year document. It's a living kind of document.
And exactly.
We
And
talked about 5 years being the time frame for our strategic plan. This makes sense. And as it's a living document, as things like built-ins come along or other changes in one state.
keep updating it and very fluid, right? And I think yes.
I'm just going down to page 13 here, the student survey, learning about Indigenous peoples and cultures in my school. Really surprised to see that Dr. Kearney / Upper Pines have, I guess that's probably about 10% that never learn. Burt Bowe's included as well. That just really surprising me, the amount of Indigenous students at that school. Maybe it's later in the report here, but what active steps are we going to take right away to start addressing those? Or what have we taken already?
Well, you'll see our goal. It's very much around ensuring that that's embedded and it's ongoing for sure. And it's just, it's always the work, right? I think there's been a reticence of, are we doing it properly? Are we getting, local knowledge? So just making sure that we're really providing that kind of training for our staff, and the work we're doing with your curriculum committee and that we've done previously with the committee has been so important for getting that into our, the songs and all of that. So
It's actually hard to imagine, and so this is a student survey, so this is based on their recollections of so you have about 70-80% saying that there have been. And so I'm not sure what classes those kids might have missed, but as you're pointing out, there are so many different initiatives, including with curriculum, but even sort of school-wide activities. But that's the scratch that we need to do in terms of, but every school has something going on, as you know.
For sure. In terms of our timeline, wasn't the student survey one of the first things we did 3 years ago?
no.
If we were to repeat it now.
Well, we did it, actually wasn't the first one we did administrators, teachers, and then
Okay.
we brought, it was actually, I'm losing track of the year, but last year, the year before, Pat and I went in and did a presentation at the middle and high school, and then had them do the survey. Now, true, lots of stuff going on, but also important to understand their perspective, right? Perspective is everything. So that's something we're really curious about. What does this mean to them, right? What does learning about Indigenous culture mean to them? And so we're really curious about that.
If there are no other questions for the amazing Courtney, but I think that's only make the motion that the board of education that the equity plan as presented. Moved by Ida, seconded by Bill. Calling the question, all in favor?
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Round or
Oh, it's okay.
Let you stay.
I appreciate the invite.
Yes, thank you, Carol.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
And thank you, Carolina, it was interesting.
Yeah, thank you both for being a part of that process. It's been great. And, and we will.
Well, my recollection is not strong these days on timelines, so we got it. We go with it.
And it's been an evolution, and we presented a report every year, right? Before.
Good.
Thank you.
All right, have a good evening.
All right. We have before us some out-of-district field trips that were all approved by the superintendent because of the timing of things. I just have a process question.
I was
Well-
gonna ask the question if.
Oh, you asked the question, and here we're thinking the same thing.
Well,
Go.
I have to admit, I was looking at these and I was thinking, okay, so these are not zones or championships, whatever, that you don't know whether you qualify for or not? These are kind of,
They don't necessarily know at the beginning of the season all the tournaments they're in though.
not fair.
Yeah.
I guess when I look at this,
Yeah.
I thought, I mean, in the end, if this becomes to be a tokenism of us just,
Yeah.
then there's no point.
It's not meant to be the rule. It's meant
No,
to
but
be
it,
the
but if,
exception.
but,
I agree.
well, maybe we have to, kind of bring back the point of saying, guys, you have to get them in. The board meetings, we know when they are. They are set as well. And then,
Happy to take that back.
and I think some of them don't even have the teacher sponsor on them to be determined. So I have no idea, who it now was.
Yeah.
Is that good or bad? I mean, I can approve it, but.
And so there's something that you approved on November 26th, and I could understand those blanks being there
Yeah.
perhaps on November 26th. But they figured out who their teacher sponsor was by now.
Yeah.
So if we attach this way to our minutes, and that's why I'm saying it's a process question.
Yeah.
It looks like those answers aren't important to us, and we asked for the information because it is important to us.
Yeah, we'll get that addendum part of it added to it.
Along the lines with this, and a good note, Stephen.
Yeah.
I was talking to one of the high school coaches. And he complimented, our principal, the athletic director, and with what
Right.
happened there.
Right.
And Todd's taking care of scheduling and stuff,
Right.
and they were complimenting him on how well he stepped up, did a good job organizing.
Yeah, so this is in the throes of the athletic director leaving. And so part of that is the process challenge in terms of this, and yet you still want the kids to go and he stepped in to make it happen, but point taken around some of the tightening up on the process and the procedure.
Well, and I know that you're not going to be approving something on our behalf. That's not okay.
Yeah.
But it looks incomplete when we attach it to our
Understand.
agenda package.
Yeah.
That's just been my.
Yeah.
And it is exciting to see the kids go out of town and do these tournaments.
Oh, no,
Like,
absolutely, but it's okay to make sure that the process was never intended to be all of them pre-approved by the superintendent, otherwise why'd we have the policy?
Yeah.
It's just, I have to tell you, like, whether it's Hudson's Hope or some last minute entries to tournaments, which actually happened a fair bit here because the athletic director had left. This will go in rhythm sometimes, and it'll never be 100% where there's not a pre-approved.
Oh, I get that.
I think Mr. Bean called me from the road. He'd just forgotten one time, and so we had to figure it out.
Right, could I please have a motion that the Board of Education approve the attached out-of-district field trips as presented? Moved by Bill, seconded by Madeline. Calling the question, all in favor? Carried. Item number 4, community coaches. Do you have a list of community coaches in front of you? Can I please have a motion, the Board of Education approve the attached community coaches as presented? Moved by Thomas, seconded by Bill.
Nice to see Melody Braun, a former AO, stepping up there.
Granddaughter. Yeah. Is that like, cool.
Okay. Calling the question then, all in favor? Carried. Moving on to number 5, posts of responsibility, and there's one post of responsibility before us related to Indigenous Ed. And I think we all knew this was happening,
Yeah, we
but
missed it.
we missed the
We missed
paperwork.
the submission at the beginning, and so this was part of the reorg as far as the transition for Pat Jansen and then Valerie stepping into more of a coordination role. So thanks for looking at that.
So can I please have someone make the motion that the Board of Education approve the attached posts of responsibility as presented, moved by Bill, seconded by Ida.
In regards to post responsibilities, would that mean our principal at the high school is taking on one, or? is that
No,
just
they
part
would
of
never
his
get additional post
overflow?
responsibility. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
other duties as assigned.
exactly. That's what I was thinking it was gonna be the answer, but
Otherwise, we would have to pay Helen 3 times her salary probably when she was working.
All right. Any other questions, comments on that? Seeing none, we'll move on to our secretary treasurer's report, which is page 19 in the packet.
We don't have to vote for the post of responsibility.
Pardon?
We don't have to vote for the post of responsibility.
Yeah, we do. Sorry, calling the question. All in favor?
I'm not gonna vote on it. That's why I asked, just,
Oh,
I know
Well-
Valerie.
I got a mover and a seconder. I did that part. I forgot the question. So thank you for honoring the process.
Against early one. Just telling her.
Okay, now Angela's turn.
Thank you, Helen. So for my report, I have the finance update to November 30th, 2024. The annual executive disclosure report is on the website, so the link is there for the period ended June 30th, 2024. This is the upcoming trustee statement of disclosure that occurs every year, so we're trying to be proactive and not give it in January, we're
Not
giving it in
reactive.
December. Yes. So if there's any questions on how to fill those out, Leah is very well versed in them, so. I see her eyes going. And then the HR support staff summary for November 15th to December 10th, 2024. And that is my report.
All right. Well, there's nothing to be pulled up for motion, so can I please have a mover and a seconder for her report? Moved by Thomas, seconded by Madeline. All right, let's go through the report item by item, starting with the finance report update.
I could just give a little update that we got from the ministry. Usually by December 15th, we have our numbers for the amended budget come out. This year, we were informed that they are unsure when they will be getting us those numbers. So they could be as late as the end of January. And as I guess a good point is they may postpone the amended budget deadline, which is not actually a super positive thing in my perspective, because it's nice to the two roll kind of into each other. So it's nice to have one done before you move on to the next year. But so that wasn't a great news story for me, but it is what it is. So.
Is that mainly due to the election? They give a reason?
Because of the election. Yeah.
Okay, I just had one question, and it goes down to education assistance. The concept you put on track, but we would have expected by now to have expended 30% of our budget, and we've expended 26.4. And I just wondered if availability of staffing was a factor in that discrepancy right now.
I can't give you a deep dive answer on that. I did put on track because sometimes it's just the timing of when the payroll rolls in. So it was a bit less, but I think there's still a couple postings out, but not that's something that would bridge that gap. So.
I was gonna leave that miscellaneous alone this time,
No,
but the
no,
only
and
reason why
I
the
knew
reason
I
why
was
I'm
gonna
not
ask.
leaving it alone is because there's a huge increase from the last report to this report.
So that includes the ITA funds in there, which we weren't quite as sure. So that's the
Industry
the
trade.
Industry Training Authority. And then there's sometimes there's funds that we receive that we that were unexpected. So we are at 180. I did budget low at 160 because I got burnt the year before, so that is low. If it goes much higher than that, I'll be very surprised, but.
Well, it was just because of how. I did check last month and it's like, okay, there must have been, but that ITA fund, that's what.
I think
Probably
that's
would
what
be a
pushed
big
us
chunk,
over,
yeah.
yeah.
And then do you, I mean, this is asking you to speak to the crystal ball. Do you think the interest rate is gonna affect?
My budgeted amount? Yes, yes. It's already dropped to 3.95 for November, and then after that came the announcement of the cut, so if we hit, I think we're gonna see a drastic slowdown. My crystal ball failed me for the preliminary budget, and now it's.
We'll get him last GST next month.
Yes. I appreciate that perspective, Bill. Well done.
All right, the statement of disclosure, we debated about whether we brought it forward, but Leah really had to chase to get these done last time. So it was too tight for when they're due for our next meeting. So please don't make it a chase. We have enough work to do without chasing.
I'm just gonna say there's hard copies here, and then if you need a copy of your one from last year, they're there. Thank you.
It's even made it easy. All right, HR support staff summary. Any questions here? If there's no questions, I'm calling the question. All in favor of accepting Angela's report? Bill voted with 2 hands. I don't know quite what that means, but that's okay.
Really happy.
Thank you.
Right. Moving on to item number 10 in your agenda package, which is reports of the regular committee of the whole meeting of December the 2nd. And it's pages 20 to 21. Let's get a mover and a seconder. Moved by Ida, seconded by Bill. Any errors or omissions? Calling the question now, all in favor? Business arising. I did send thank you to all the staff. Allison was going to get me a list of those keen little leadership students. And I don't have it, but I'm going to ask her for it again and try and get something to them personally. I headed out of town on Tuesday, so right after that meeting, so I made sure that I got something, but I will follow up with some more specific things on your behalf. The other thing that's business arising, and so that we are accountable to our public, you were asked to share your thoughts from Academy, and I added a couple thoughts to this afternoon. Everybody's thoughts were added in a different color, If you didn't get yours to Leah or you didn't add it in the document, it's there for you. Clearly, the concept of student voice and what student street data we already have and looking at it is important to us as a group. Artificial intelligence and understanding more about what's going on with that and how it impacts our policy is something that came forward. And it looks like some people have already charted their own path for some things they're going to follow up on. Are there any other comments to that attachment to your agenda?
Are we gonna kind of go on the burner for advance or?
Some of it will go on the advance, and then I thought, especially around the concept of artificial intelligence, and people seem to want to understand more about ChatGPT and doing things. It may mean coming back to district staff and saying, is there a way of having people identify what they would really like to do and then figuring out if there's some district staff that can help with that?
Yeah, we're almost kind of ahead of the curve there where our presentations on the committee meeting in January will include a tech update, including what the AI committee is up to. And the last presentation that you had as well, BC school districts are a ways away from talking about using it with the students. All of it right now is about the systemic, the operations part and the use for planning for teachers and staff. So we're not even at the point provincially to be looking at in the classroom use of AI for the students. I'm just letting you know that. But we'll start with that presentation and then maybe gather up your questions on that and give that back to them.
Does that answer it for you?
Yeah, just
Tell
because
me
a lot
more.
of, because a lot of the answers are, I find a little bit open-ended, as in they're not finished,
You're not finished, okay?
or, you know, I mean, we can just take it as is and leave it at that, or
Well,
we can.
I mean, one of the things, what are the policy implications concerning AI? When you look at the letter that I've attached for correspondence and some of the stuff that recently came from BCPC, really looking at policy and what policy we need to have in place is something that I think we need to commit to doing by the end of this school year. That's an unfolding kind of piece.
That is not classroom, right? Necessarily, that is
No,
actually the
that's
students.
kind of more governance work
Yeah,
that you
what the
need.
students make.
That's right. So, terrific. You absolutely, please continue to connect with your provincial counterparts because we don't want to have to make that up with you when it's happening in every single school district. So that provincial approach is always helpful.
Other thoughts? Just, I'm stuck on process tonight. Did having everybody answer the same set of questions provide any clarity, or should we go to everybody reporting out individually when we do something like that? What's people's preference?
I thought it was good, because it was also interesting to see, you know, some people pick something up totally different from me, but I think it's good to see.
Right? So repeat process. What documents and read it.
Yeah, this process, Helen, was really good. So long we follow up with that.
Yeah. Right. Okay. We have. All right, other reports, anything from BCSTA?
It should be Nicole now, but the only
Oh, right, sorry.
But that's okay, she's away, so I'll, the only thing that is to report from BCSTA is on the trustee academy. If anyone wants, on the hub, on the portal, they have the slides now from all the presentations.
Some of them, they're missing some, but there's But there's a lot there now. We're waiting for them, they're there. BCPC, Vice Chair Lehman, no. Sorry, Trustee Lehman.
I did send out a few informations yesterday and I actually got another one today, just as a bit of a summary, I do believe. Where they state that, local table bargainings have started in November, or local Fort St. John one has started this morning. So if you go through your emails, there's also the MFA that came out I sent it yesterday about the multi-factor authentication. And I guess would be there any question around that in the future. Just read that. And there's the nominees for directors. I think there's 4. There are on one of those communication pieces that I sent yesterday as well. For NIB, right now, there is one, Linda Martin.
I think all of the ones that were running, there was only one name put forward at this point in time. There are 4 elections.
At this point, there would be no elections. And the 3 others from the 3 other districts are actually already directors. There's no new name other than NIB, but that can change because there are nominations from the floor as well.
Thank you. And Board Pro D, we just sort of talked about where we're headed with that. In the trustee thoughts from Academy. Correspondence, cybersecurity awareness ministry letter, that had come out outside of our timeline for our agenda package last time. So. And then one BCPC thing that Madeline sent out, the implication of multi-factor authentication and what we're doing about that has some implications for us as an employer and policy and everything. So that needs to be digested and looked at and talked about in what we've got going on. So. Right. So Northeast Roundtable update. I attended a Zoom meeting on the 11th of December. And there were a number of presentations that will be of interest, maybe of interest to you. I don't have the minutes and I don't have the slides yet because it was just last week. So I'll probably bring forward some of those to you at the next meeting if I've got them. To tie in with what Angela was saying about delayed processes, the first presenter was the Northeast Land Use Planning. And I'm somebody that sits at that table and I'm just looking at that little TLE piece and finding out information for us related to Cameron Lake. There's people that are looking for answers and timelines. And basically in that first presentation, one of the things that they talked about is that in the Northeast, lots of our ministries, such as forestry, mining, transportation, Indigenous relations, almost entered an interregnum period in June, not when the writ was dropped, because they were very cautious about having commitments on the books with different people when there was the potential for a change in direction from government. And so a lot of what they're expecting to come out of the Yahi decision and some of the blueberry things that are going on in oil and gas, there's been a expanded timeline for answers that there was some frustration on, but that's what they said. Their interregnum period started in June. They reminded us that when the ministers were presented to us, they all have a general mandate right now of 4 things. They were given at the swearing in, which is a focus on bringing down costs for families, strengthening healthcare, making communities safe, and growing the economy. More specific ministry mandate letters will not come out till January. The other thing he said that was kind of interesting is if you take a look at where really experienced cabinet ministers got put. Those are the big ticket ministries for the new government right now. And part of the reason for the length of time and everything before the mandate letters are coming out, he talked about the fact that you have so many brand new MLAs, so many people that are brand new as ministers. What many of the government departments right now are doing is bringing new people up to speed on their role in the ministry, and they'll spend the time doing that. Then the mandate letters will come out. So for poor old Angela, that's the explanation for the delay around your thing. The Ministry of Indigenous Relations and Reconciliation, MERV, presentation got cut very, very short, and she snuck some slides in that she will speak to in greater detail at the meeting in February. But in taking a quick look at that slide, it doesn't look like Moberly Lake has identified our Cameron Lake piece parcel as one of their priorities for transfer in 2025. So we'll see if my quick snapshot of that view of that was right when we have a more in-depth meeting in February. That's where things are at there. All right. Under new business, I don't think,
Can I ask a quick question about that? Has anybody reached out to Roland, the chief, and just said, hey?
Nope.
What are you guys thinking?
no,
No?
I think from being there and from looking at what's going on, our transfer camp for Cameron Lake is a complex one. And they're going with the straightforward ones to begin with, because some of the processes for the kind of transfer they have to do, because there's an existing lease with us for 30 years on that one, not 30 years now, because we've got some years into it. They don't have the mechanism sorted out.
There's also a large amount of infrastructure on that property as well that can
Yeah.
complicate things as well, so, yeah.
So it's a complicated one that sooner or later, they're gonna have some processes in place. And we've met, they know how we're feeling. We're happy to have Moberly as our landlord, as long as they can give us the same conditions for that site Crown has been giving us. And hopefully they'll get the mechanisms in place to be able to do that. I don't see that we've added any new business, and we don't have PRNTA with us tonight. QP, DPAC. Opportunity now from the press and the public related to agenda items. So we'll turn and see if you have any questions for us.
All right, just something you guys mentioned at the very beginning of the meeting. I can't believe I didn't hear about this, but you said Jordan Keeley was going to be holding an event tomorrow. What is that?
I believe he has a Christmas open house happening tomorrow from 3 to 6 at his constituency office.
This from what time did you say?
3 to 6?
Thank you. And the Bob Zimmer open house?
Yeah, that's next Friday.
Next Friday, okay.
This Friday.
It's Friday the 20th.
The 20th, yeah, sorry,
Well,
I'm time traveling. It's on his Facebook page.
all right, that's good to know. Thank you. That's all I have.
That kind of lets us off easy. All right. There's no other questions. I will ask for a motion to suspend the regular meeting before we move into camera. Moved by Bill, seconded by Thomas, all in favor. Leah, can you please stop the recording? All right. Can I please have a motion that the in-camera motions be brought forward for implementation? Moved by Ida, seconded by Thomas. Calling question, all in favor? Right. And could I please get a motion to adjourn? Moved by Bill, seconded by Madeline. All in favor? Leah, please stop the recording.